Hey, my name is Connor. I'm a tech implementer at my church here in Onalaska, Wisconsin. We are Onalaska Church of Christ, not the denomination. We are just a body of believers. So we are a relatively modern, traditional, somewhere in between. We're a mixed service, but we're adding a lot of modern things that throughout our service, and part of the Church Media Sound Techs page on Facebook if you're not, and you are involved in church media, sound, AV, lighting, whatever it may be. Definitely recommend taking a look. One of the debates that I often see for what should I use for presentation software. A lot of people use ProPresenter. It's kind of like the industry standard. You'll hear some churches using PowerPoint or Keynote, and that's it'll work for you, but it's a lot more work. And then there's the one that is sitting right here in front of me, which is Proclaim. Um, I'm here to tell you exactly why we use it, how we use it, and why I think for a church our size and the things that we're doing, it really works best for us. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on our church, and then we'll kind of get into some of the better features that this program offers that really make it worth it for us. We are a small church. Most Sundays, we are on an average about 100 people in our congregation. We have a young pastor, and we've seen growth lately. Um, and we have, a mostly mixed service. Like I said earlier, we do a mix of modern music with traditional, and we have a good range of ages that all seem to like every bit of music. You've got the older generation who are going to prefer their traditional music and hymns, and then we do have younger people, 20s and 30s, who prefer the contemporary or putting a contemporary twist on modern music. We do have a full light rig, and we started running with Show Express, and we still use Show Express to run our 8-fixture wash rig plus a 6-fixture uplight rig. And then we have house lights that are also controlled with that. Um, so the reason we use Proclaim, though, is because of our congregation size. It really works best for us. We have a small number of people on our worship team. We have an even smaller number of people on our tech team. And on any given Sunday, we have 2 people in our booth. One person running sound and one person running our slides. We are looking at live streaming in the future, but as of right now, we only have 2 people in our booth operating everything that our congregation sees. And as the tech implementer and developer here at our church, my role has shifted from implementing tech into making sure that the tech that we have is working for the people in our booth, making sure that they have the tools that they need and can successfully make it through service without feeling too much pressure, and can comfortably make it with what we're providing. To us, Proclaim is a very easy to use program. I'm currently sitting in my office on my personal computer, but we have a dedicated Windows Lenovo that's running 32 gigs of RAM and I think 2 terabytes of SSD storage that we've had for a number of years, and it continuously, week after week, proves how powerful it is. And even with a program like this that doesn't require a whole lot to run it, we're still running 4 displays off of one computer, and it works great for us. Um, in our booth, we have our main display, which looks like what you're seeing here. We have to the right of that a preview monitor of what you see up on the screen. We have one main screen that we run that is a 16:9 HD projector, and then on the back of our in the back of our sanctuary, we do have a 70-inch or so confidence monitor, which is one of the things that this program runs for us quite easily. Besides being an easy interface and easy to navigate, it also has cloud access. Like I said, I'm sitting in my office and I'm just on a Wi-Fi, on our church Wi-Fi. All of my changes are synced over cloud. You can see over here the little green check mark. It's always checking for, to make sure that it's as up to date as it can be. Nice thing about that is if our main computer goes down, I can grab my MacBook here and run it into our sanctuary and plug it in and be up and running in a couple minutes, which is a great backup solution in case our main rig goes down. One of the big drawing features for me specifically was I come from a sound and light production company. I do focus a lot on production and making sure that our production elements are on par with my standards, but as well as making sure that people in our congregation can worship and are not distracted by things that don't happen. Things that don't change at the right time, things that don't, transitions that aren't quite as smooth. And so I use this program to make those transitions easier and more fluid. It also, it does automation as far as lighting, audio recording, so it records directly to the machine that you're, running it on, and you can record from a USB, audio interface, and that's what we do every Sunday to record our podcast. It has a music player built right in, and it has auto stop features with that as well. And then it also has a video player built in, so there's nothing additional you have to purchase to get all these features. It's just built in. It is a subscription-based program, but for a church our size, we're not really hurting from paying that monthly or yearly subscription. Lastly is the media that's included. We're going to dive into the layout of our service and how we have things laid out and how it works with Proclaim. But just, taking a look here, one of the songs that we're doing this week is How Great Is Our God. This background is a moving background. We paid nothing for it. It's included with our Faith Life Proclaim subscription to this program. I mean, there are plenty of gorgeous backgrounds. This one, my pastor commented how beautiful it was. I'm like, I know it's great, and we didn't pay anything for it. And, there's things like this that are just built in that really make it worth it for us. Our countdown every week, we do different countdowns, and there's plenty of them built in. And for us, it just makes sense to use this because it's already there. So, with that being said, we're going to dive into the layout of our service, starting with our pre-service. We have a handful of slides here that, just your generic pre-service stuff, welcoming people, silencing your phones. We do script cards at our church here, so that's information for them to go and look at our online stock, things like that. Facebook, listening to our podcast. This has Bible trivia built in, so we throw up a trivia question every minute or so up on the screen before service, so people have, a little bit of fun before our service gets started. Access to our website, our online giving stuff, and then a radio station that one of our congregation members is a part of that has a Christian hour dedicated to it. This continuously loops. I start it automatically on Sunday mornings about 9:30. Our service starts at 10. And then we have music playing. I just swapped out all of our music recently. You can see our music there as to what we're playing, but we've got Planet Shakers in there. We've got Matthew West, Newsboys, Elevation. And like I said before, with automation, it's kind of nice because this music will just continue to loop, and you can shuffle it. You can loop it until you want it stopped. You can end the playlist, so it'll go through the songs once. It'll go till end of section. We use it as stopped, and the reason for that is once it hits 9:54 and 56 seconds, so yeah, 9:54 and 56 seconds, the warm-up section here starts next. And that is the start of our countdown, is how we use it. You can add other things in there as well, but the way Proclaim works is if you look right beneath the warm-up is the service time. That automatically calculates what time your warm-up section needs to start in order to end at your service start time. That makes it really great because our tech people like to be out and talking with congregation members, and they might forget to run into the booth to start the countdown in time. We have not had a late service start in months because this automatically does it for us, and we've had no problems with that. The reason that you saw the music was set to music is set until stopped. Hold on here. Here it is. When it's set to stopped, you'll see that there's this little red X on the speaker, and that's the stop cue to stop the music. And so it's going to continue to play this mix of music all the way through the warm-up. And once it hits 10 o'clock, that video will stop. It'll transition to our welcome slide. It'll stop the pre-service music, and it'll transition into our pads. And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. From there, we move into worship. We have our welcome slide. So let's just copy it from up above. We just welcome everyone, thank them for being here, welcoming into worship, and then we get into the first song. We're starting with "Lord, I Lift Your Name on High" this week, and you'll notice the first slide here has the title, CCLI information. We're a small church, and small churches could get away with it, but legally you're supposed to put it on there. So the nice thing about Proclaim is it's built in, and each slide it's set to automatically put it on there. If you look down here, it's licensed by CCLI, and you can show the title on the title slide. You can show the credits on the title slide. So all this stuff down here will show up correctly, and you can move those boxes around, move them wherever you want. We like having them down at the bottom just so that people can still read what the name of the song is. And then all of your lyrics, as long as you have a CCLI license, that all syncs with Proclaim. Any song that you want to look up, you can find it here. One of my current favorite songs right now is "Echo" by Elevation Worship. And if you look right here, song select by CCLI, the first song on the list is "Echo," and that is those are the lyrics for that song. And I could add that song right now if I wanted to. This is actually for this upcoming week, so I want to make sure that I have the correct title in there. So give me 1 second here. So every song has its verse, chorus, all that good stuff in there, and we'll go through the next song too, so you can kind of see the differences and each one, and you can totally customize the order of your song. No Longer Slaves, we're doing that song, the Bethel No Longer Slaves. And that way you can type in whatever service order you want. You only have to put things in once, and it makes it really easy for us. We really like that. We have a little greeting time here, so it's just the background again. Another lyric slide. Ask people to be seated as we move into our communion and offering time. We have a couple blank slides in there, and we'll get into more as to why we have those blank slides. During our offering, we have one more person come up and do a quick prayer, and then we move into our announcement video. We record those on a monthly basis, so we show that during the offering time. We do have a children's class during the message, so they get excused at that point. And now we're getting into the message. Like I mentioned before, there's a lot of things that are automated with Proclaim, and one of those is the start recording feature, and that automatically will start recording whatever audio is sent to Proclaim, and it'll end down at the very end of the message here. So that's the whole message there, and the nice thing is my pastor creates what he wants his slides to look like each week, sends me a PowerPoint, and I just import the PowerPoint, and it's good to go. We have one more reflection song at the end, and a dismissal slide, and then it goes into a post-service loop. So that's what our layout of our service looks like. I want to dive a bit into some of the automation features that we use that make this program worth it for us. Starting with the welcome slide, there are a couple tabs across the top. We don't use notes because we don't really have a reason to. The final one though is signals, and signals is how the cues operate in Proclaim. If you want to add signals, you can do all that, and you can add Bible references, calendars, contact cards, logos, web address, and it'll pull all of that up. And if people are using the Faith Life app, you can access that on your phone in the congregation, and when that slide pops up, it'll notify that person using it on that device. We don't really use that a whole lot because most of the congregation is above 50 years old and they, don't use their devices during service. So we don't use that feature for those reasons. We do use it for lighting. Lighting was a struggle every week. We run Show Express for our lighting software, and we were using a Novation Launchpad to select the different lighting scenes that we wanted to do, and we would just notice it just got clunky, and if you forgot to press the button or if the USB connection wasn't correct, you were out of luck. The nice thing is now is our people running slides don't have to worry about lighting anymore because it all is taken care of. In Show Express, we have all of our lighting wash scenes, our uplighting scenes, and house wash or house lights are all programmed in there, and for each part of the service there are different macros set up, and those allow us to change macros in the future without having to change all of the lighting cues that we have set up in Proclaim. You'll see right here worship is the first one that it goes into, and basically our worship one is it goes from our pre-service look of house lights on and the stage on a dim blue. The worship setting brings the stage lights up to white, and it starts a 30-second dim on the house lights down to about a third brightness. So it gives them time to get adjusted, doesn't immediately drop, it's a smooth transition there. And then once we get into the song, there's no signals on that one. And we don't have another signal until the greeting. We have a short little greeting time, just so people can say hello in the morning. And we have one signal here, which is everything turned on. So our stage lights stay the same, but the house lights come back up. And we want to make sure that people can see and don't, trip over the chairs and things like that. And once the greeting time is done, then we go into the next song. And we have another signal which goes back to the worship look, so the lights will dim down slowly again. The wash lights stay up. From there we have that please be seated. And like I mentioned earlier, we had a couple blank slides in here for the different parts of the communion, and that's for our signals. So we have a speaker setting, so whoever's up on the stage, the lighting is centered on whoever is speaking, and it brings the house lights to about half brightness. So it's a little bit brighter so you can see. We do have communion at this time, so our servers need to be able to see. Once we get to communion itself, then we do have a communion look which dims the stage down to a dark blue. We do have a lit cross that has strip lighting behind it that's lit up throughout the service, so this just helps to put it, accent the cross and help people's focus go there. And then it keeps the lighting about the same so our servers can still see. And then we go into the offering meditation. Another signal again, it brings up the speaker lighting again. From there, it goes into our video. Like I said, Proclaim automatically plays video, and you can choose custom start-stop times on those. You can set it so that when the video is done, it just stays there. It can loop continuously. It can automatically advance the next slide. However you want to set it up. Typically, by the end of our announcement video, servers are already done passing the plate, and we just go right into the, children are excused for classes. It works for us pretty well, and not too complex. On this children excused one, this brings up the message lighting, because by the time this video is over, our pastor is now up on the stage, and it's basically the same as the speaker setting. It just gives him a little bit wider area to walk around in, so he's not moving into the dark. So instead of it being 2 lights centered on the center area, it's about 4 lights that are covering a wider area, so that he can move freely around and still be visible. From there, we have that start recording, and all of our audio, you can see here, it's not going to show up, but we use a USB, a Lexicon Alpha, to record audio, and we just have a aux mix of the microphone that our pastor uses, running through an aux mix with a compressor and a limiter on it, and then that output gets sent to the interface to be recorded here. And then once you get to the end of a message, it'll show up right here, and it'll actually pop up the recorded window, so you can edit it. It makes it really easy for us because I get done with the service and I go back to the booth and I can upload our podcast and be out in about 10 minutes after editing and uploading and all that stuff. So once we get into the message, the first slide comes up. We're currently in a study of Galatians. And one of the signals that we have, this is going to be one of the other things that we have set up, is uplighting. So our uplighting doesn't change very much throughout service, but once we get to the message, we always try to make sure that our uplighting matches the background of our message slides. So we have a pretty simple format for our message slides. It's usually a title slide and then a background with black text. Sometimes we change it up. It just depends, but for more of our longer studies, things like that, we try to keep it consistent and have a simple look to it, so that everything feels the same from week to week. But like I said, that uplighting stays the same. And one of the cool things is I'll show you here with signals. This is just an image. So when we import our PowerPoint, it imports it as an image. So I can't actually change any of the text here. That's not an actual box. I can click anywhere I want. I can't change it. The cool thing is that it pulls in the Bible reference for this slide. And if people are using the Logos Bible app, they can follow the message on that, and whenever a scripture slide comes up, it'll actually give them a little box to click, and it'll take them to that scripture in their Bible app. Pretty cool. Not a lot of people use it, but we have a couple people who enjoy that feature as they're able to pay more attention to the message, and if they want to save a particular scripture, they can click on that and it takes them right there. They don't have to search in the Bible app for the book and the chapter number and then scroll to the verse. So it makes it easy for them, and they enjoy that. But like I said, we don't have a lot of people using that. So that's the whole message. Like I said, we're recording audio the whole time. That'll automatically stop the recording at that point. It just makes it easier for me at the end to go and find the start and stop points for the message. We have a blank slide as he's closing things out before we start up our last song. We do have a couple signals, so the worship lights come back up, and our uplighting changes back to white. And then right before everyone, right before we say have a great week, we bring up all the lights as people start to make their way out, and that goes into our post-service loop. And the automation starts again with the music, and it's the same. You can choose a different playlist here. We always just copy the same music here. So automation-wise, it's really easy. Once you have the back end done of getting all of the channel set up and the DMX value, or what? Not the DMX value, the MIDI values. You have all the channel and note values set up, and you label everything. Changing it every week is really simple for us. So we covered lighting, covered video. One of the last few things I want to cover here is the media that's included. Like I said, the stuff is just beautiful that comes with it, and We don't pay anything extra for it, and it's ever changing. Um, there are a lot of different backgrounds here. Like this one's free. We get it with it. And the nice thing is you can sort by everything or just the ones that you have access to. So the owned ones, you can look at those. It's really nice, and we find a lot of them in there. The cool thing is if you download things from like Church Motion Graphics using their free content, you'll often see those just pop up here. So it's instead of having to download that, you just wait a couple weeks and then you can use the same ones at a different time. You can upload your own, obviously. And so we've got a couple different things here, and these are all different ones that we've uploaded. We've got stuff from VBS in here, and the nice thing is, like here's those Church Motion Graphics stuff I was talking about. So there's just tons of free content. You can upload all your own stuff. It's great. For us, we don't have to pay the extra subscription because we're not trying to be trendy with what we're putting up on the screen. We're just trying to find stuff that matches for our entire service so that we have a consistent theme throughout. Music is really nice for us. We have a iTunes account that we purchase all our music through, and so we're importing music here, and we're not streaming anything, so that's not being sent through, and you don't have that issue. But it's just really nice to be able to import whatever music we need and run it that way. I mentioned earlier we run pads. Church front pads are a great source for finding those. We bought a pack of them. Thank you, Jake. But we run pads just behind everything just to kind of fill it in. We don't have a huge band. We have acoustic guitar, piano, and drums, and then we have vocals. And we have a good full sound, but just to kind of fill in those small gaps, we like to run those pads just to even things out a bit. And so the nice thing is you add a pad, we add it on the welcome slide, and by the time we get to the actual first lyric slide, it still keeps running in the background, and that is the key that we're going to be playing it in. So playing that key of G. We get to Crown with Many Crowns. That one we are playing in B flat. We have 20 minutes of pads worth on there, and we're not even going to play them for 5 minutes. But the nice thing is you can just continuously play those, and then we get to How Deep, and that's key of D. So we can have pads running in the background without having to do a whole lot of work to have them play. The last thing, and for some people this might not be a huge selling point and this might not even matter, but one of the things that we had set up that we never got to use was we have a TV out in our church lobby, and for a while we just had a DVD player, and every once in a while someone would get around to burning pictures onto a CD, and then they would just play those images on a loop out in the lobby, but it would be the same for 2-3 months because it was burning new content every time you wanted to change it. This offers a sign feed. So our sign feed is just the same thing as what our pre and post service loop are, so it's a consistent look across our building. Right now we only have one, but our next year's plan is to add a couple more throughout the building that have different things going on with them. But the nice thing is Proclaim auto-generates a URL, and you can copy that URL and put it onto whatever device you're streaming it to. Nice thing is I picked up a little PC. I think it runs Linux, and it's a little PC stick that's got a little HDMI tail, and it's USB powered, and it plugs right into our TV. It's USB powered, and we plug that into the TV as well. And when it boots up, it automatically boots to Chrome window. The Chrome program automatically goes to that URL, and I found a plugin for Chrome that puts it to full screen right away. So just by powering up this little stick computer, within 2 minutes when I walk into the building in the morning, it's brought up to full screen and running running these slides. So it's really nice for us. Some people might not need it, but just the fact that it's included and you can have so many different feeds going at once is really convenient. So, like I said at the beginning, it's an easy program to use. I've not done a whole lot with church media, but AV is kind of my thing. And the people who have used it in the past and who have used different programs and come from a different background, everyone's happy with it. Even people who have to quick on the fly add something, or I might not be here for a Wednesday night program and they need to throw in a music video or a picture or a PowerPoint, everything is laid out so easily, and it's just easy to navigate and easy to learn. It really, it's just easy. It's all I can say. It might not have some of the features that ProPresenter has, and it's fine. We're perfectly happy with what we're getting out of this, and I think a lot of churches, around that 100-member area would really benefit from using this program. So I hope to have videos out in the future that go a little bit more in depth into some of the automation things that we do. But if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Leave a comment, and I'll try to get back to you on this. I'm always learning, and I always encourage people to learn more about what they're doing too. And if you're in the market for a new presentation program, would highly recommend looking into Proclaim. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It's probably going to be a pretty long one, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.